Hello! Today we are going to have two learning goals when it comes to multiplication. If you look at the top, it says I can relate equal groups to arrays. That's what we're going to start our lesson with. But the first thing I want you to do is look at your paper and find the application problem. It says, it looks like this. Whoops. Right there, it looks like this. It says Jordan uses 3 lemons to make 1 pitcher of lemonade. He makes 4 pitchers. How many lemons does he use altogether? Use the read, draw, and write process to show your solution. So you're going to reread the problem on your paper, draw it, and then write it. Take a few minutes to solve that problem. If you need to pause your iPad, you can. Okay, now we're going to go to problem number 1, where we're going to look back at this learning goal. I can relate equal groups to arrays. So I want you to look back at the problem about Jordan and his lemons. Compare why his lemons are organized with the groups of 3 circles on your paper. So on your paper, you should see a picture that looks like this. Compare that to the way Jordan's lemons are organized on your paper as well. Take a minute and think about that. You probably notice that there are straight lines on the template. We're going to call a straight line going across a row. Use your blank piece of paper to cover all but the top row. Uncover 1 row at a time in the picture. As you uncover each row, write the new total number of circles to the right of it. So it might look like this. You have your 3 circles and you're going to write how many you have total. Like in the first row you have 3, you would write a 3. Skip count by 3 using the 3's array picture. Say the total number of circles you counted. When you look back at this picture, how many circles did you count? You should have counted 30. Now, take a few seconds to find how many rows of 3 you counted. Look at your picture. How many rows of 3 did you count? At the signal, say how many. Ready? 1, 2, 3. How many did you count? I'm hoping you said 10. So true or false? 10 rows of 3 circles equals 30 circles. So now, look at what I've written on my paper. I wrote 10 times 3 equals 30. If I look at the picture, I see 3 rows of 10 circles. So that's why this is true. 10 times 3 equals 30. Now when you look back at this picture on your paper, this is called an array. That might be a new word for you. It's an array because the problem is organized in rows of equal groups. So whenever you see that, when you're doing multiplication, that is called an array. So when you look back at your learning goal, I can relate equal groups to arrays. That's what an array is. Now I want you to find this picture on your paper and take a look at that. Look at how many rectangles are in the top row. The size of one row is 4 rectangles. 1, 2, 3, 4. Each row of 4 can also be called a group of 4. How many groups of 4 are in this array? Remember, it's an array because it has rows of equal groups. You should see 3 groups of 4. To write this as an equation, we first write the number of groups. So again, how many groups are there? Next, we write the size of the group. How many rectangles are in each group? Well, I see 4 in each group. So the way that I would write this as an equation would be, look back at my paper here, 3 times 4, because I have 3 groups of 4, and that is going to give me 12. I can skip count, look back at my picture, and say 4, 8, 12. I can skip count by 4s to get 12. My answer, 12. Another word for the answer would be product. When you add 2 numbers together, the answer is the sum. When you multiply 2 numbers together, the answer is called the product. So that could be a new vocabulary word for you. Okay? Now look at your paper and go to problem 2. It says for problem 2, your learning goal is I can redraw equal groups as arrays. So I want you to look at your paper and you should see something that looks like this. 3 circles with triangles. On the whiteboard table, redraw the picture as an array. So you're going to take this and make it into an array. Remember, an array is equal groups of rows. So you should think about how many rows you're going to draw and how many triangles are going to be in each row. So you should have something that looks like this. I accidentally drew circles, but you could draw the triangles. So you would have 3 groups of 5. And then to write that as an expression, a multiplication expression, you're 3, because you have 3 groups, times 5, because there's 5 circles or 5 triangles in each group. And if you skip count that, you could say 5, 10, 15. And then your answer is going to be 15, or your product. When you multiply 2 numbers, your answer is your product. An expression is different from an equation because it doesn't have an equal sign. Okay, so now what I want you to try to do is you're going to complete the problem set pages. Your pages are like that. You're going to complete those, and then you're going to show me so I can see how well you're doing with that. I hope you enjoyed today's lesson.